A few weeks ago, I made a video about how I push the Ableton Move beyond its 4-track limit. In that video, I built a sketch that I really liked, and today I want to turn that sketch into a full song. So I'm bringing it into Ableton Live, doing some gain staging, adding a few extra layers, and working on the mix. Just enough to get it to sounding the way I want before moving into the arrangement. This is part one of the process, and it's all about taking a rough idea and turning it into something real. So before we get started, we can just check the sketch on the Move, and it's here. Great. Then let's check here in the set overview. Then we can see here that we have this set 26 copy, and it has this cloud icon here, so that means it's uploaded to the cloud and we can just open it in Live. So let's move over to Ableton Live. So now we have moved over to Ableton Live and we have a blank session here, but we are going to open the sketch from the Move. So let's move over to cloud. This is the set 26, so I can just open it here. And here we have it. So let's have a listen. Perfect. So it sounds exactly the same as in the Move. So to start off, I usually start by gain staging, because I can see that I will get some issues with the track levels if I don't do that. But maybe, no. So I made a video a couple of weeks ago where I showed you how you can get more tracks on the Move. And I actually used this particular track. So in this drum rack here, we can see here if we go in here and solo. We can hear that we don't only hear drums here, we also hear this vibraphone here, because I sampled this over here, and we also have the bass here. So we actually need to extract them so we can process these channels separately. So let's do that. The thing we need to do is to press here. And here we can see set 26 copy. Here we have the recording of the vibraphone. So we can just right click here and extract chains. And then if we solo that and listen, we have it here. Very nice. Let's do the same thing for the bass. So it's here, extract chains. So now we have bass here as well. Perfect. Then we can just change the color of these so they don't look the same as, yeah, of course we need to change them as well. Yeah. So now they are extracted, and if we solo the drum rack now, they should be removed. Yeah, so they are extracted. Now we only have the drums on this channel. Perfect. But now I want to gain stage the track levels here, because I see that they are not very good at the moment. So I usually start with the drums. So let's have a listen here. And it's peaking around -3 decibel, which is not perfect for this. So let's get a utility tool here and just lower this a bit so we can get around -10 decibel. I think it's a good spot for the drums. Around there. And we also need a glue compressor for this. So let's lower the threshold here until we get to around like -2 to 3 decibel. So it's moving a bit here, and we can also make up that loss of decibel. I think around there is good. And the thing we need to do now is to match the bass with this drum pattern. So let's solo this as well. And here I want to sidechain the bass to the drums a little bit. So let's do that. And then we need a normal compressor. So this one. And we need to press here and press sidechain. And of course select the drum kit as the input. And if we play now, we can see here what we need to find the kick. So here we have the kick. And now we can just lower this to see. There we have an extreme effect. That's maybe not suitable for this typical track, but I think maybe there. Yeah. Because now they feel like disconnected from each other, but when I enable this, it's more glued together, which is nice. But I'm not entirely happy where this sits, so I need some utility here as well. I think a good spot to aim for is so they match. I used to aim to have them in the same ballpark. I think it sounds pretty good right now. Okay, so let's move over to this vibraphone then. I think it's a bit too high. Maybe around there. So these other sounds is more like subjective where you want them. I just go by what I think sounds good. I think there is pretty good. Let's add this. So I can definitely hear that this is too high at the moment. Needs lowering. And one thing with this track is that, if we listen to it, I think we need an EQ on this and remove some of the lower frequencies. That is not necessary for this type of track. Because we don't want like this sound taking up low frequencies. That's not needed. So I think I will add something to this main melody here, so we can just duplicate this. And then we can add like pigments synth to this. I love pigments. And let's just go with some key sounds that is good. And let's also take the reverb from this, from the original sound, and then just solo these two. And of course, so we don't want the full sound here, just some tail of it. maybe around there. Yeah, maybe too much reverb, but for this type of song, I think it's okay. Okay, the Gainstaging part is at a good point right now, so the thing I want to do now is a bit strange, but that's my workflow anyway. So when you use Move, you can get like a master effect on the whole song. So we have this pump effect here with some compressors on analog clip and a limiter. I'm going to disable these because I want to use my own mastering tools. So let's just add this stock light mastering here. And it's nothing special right now. It's only like Ableton stock plugins with some glue, with some stereo widening and some limiting, and also to check the LUFS, so the loudness. And I want to add one more thing to this, which I often use, and it's the Golfos master. So let's put this like after the saturation maybe, and let's have a listen. So I'm not adding much, but as you can hear, there is some more clarity when you add the Golfos master, which I like. So it's very noticeable when you bypass it, but maybe not when you add it. Yeah, so let's check what we have here. So this looks good. So in terms of loudness, I used to aim for like -12, -12.5, somewhere around that. So let's try and get it there. I think we are around 13 right now. So let's just add some gain here. Too much. Yeah, maybe around there. I usually have a ceiling around -1 dB to just protect from any clipping and distortion. But this is by no means a mastering I did here. It's just like to get some basic gluing for the whole track when I continue to arrange it. So I get like some feeling of how I want it to sound. So I will tweak this along the way, but we have something to work with at least. Okay, so we have done some basic gain staging. We have added some more sounds to it. We have also extracted the sounds from the drum rack, of course. And we have added some basic like master channel. I wouldn't call it mastering, but yeah. One thing to keep in mind if you do this and use this along the way when you like arrange, it can cause some latency, especially if you use like Ozone or some mastering tools. But when you use like stock plugins, you're usually fine. This one is not stock, so it generates like 24 milliseconds. So maybe not ideal if you want to like play stuff when you do this, then you have to disable this. This is just like to get a basic idea of where I want, how I want the track to sound. So this is part 1. So in part 2, we will continue to generate some sections, because now we only have this one scene here, and it's like the main part of the song. So we need to like split this up in sections like intro, verse, and so on. But we will do that in part 2. So that's all I had for today. Thanks for hanging out and see you in the next one. Bye!